Hi, this is Geo Simpson with EDL Module 2003. My Directed Individual Study experience working at Cape Fear for Dr. John Berry. And this is Module 2, which relates my research as well as providing information to Dr. Berry that will allow him to make the changes he wants to make or develop the changes he wants to make at Cape Fear Community College. I found this experience to be profound. Dr. Berry directed me to find both statewide and nationally, number one, colleges that we can model Cape Fear Community College after as it relates to student retention efforts. Retaining your students is very important at a university or at a college, and Dr. Berry wants to enhance Cape Fear's performance in that area. He directed me to do several things. Number one, as I said, acquire data and information, and then examine one college in particular from Eugene, Oregon, by the name of Lane Community College. Then present him with that information so that he can make an informed development of and changes within the organizational structure and the way that Cape Fear operates. Now, Cape Fear has retention efforts individualized within departments, but the main thing that we want to look at, he wanted me to look at, was the student center concept, the one-stop concept. So first of all, I received I went and did research and found a student measure or a community college measure book that shows all the colleges or community colleges within the state of North Carolina, and in every measure that the state requires, how are they performing? And then I solicited the help of my second level supervisor to obtain that. Then I got a couple of experts, Dr. Andy Ryder and Dr. Andy Malk. Just realized they were both Andys. and they helped me to they actually analyzed the data, and we identified 5 community colleges in North Carolina that are doing very well in the areas of retention. I don't remember them all offhand, but I know Western Piedmont, Mayland Community College, Johnston Community College, Pamlico Community College, and one other, can't remember that name, but those were the colleges that I communicated in this paper that I did to this report I did for Dr. John Berry. And then secondly, I did obtain information from Lane Community College. Right down the street from the University of Oregon. They supply a lot of their community students to the University of Oregon. And so I spoke with several individuals before I did an interview with the Dean of Enrollment and Student Success, a woman by the name of Dean Helen Garrett. And the interview was profound. It was tremendous. And the paper, I hit some of the highlights, but she talked about the process, this one-step process. I guess they're known, that's why Dr. Berry asked me to look into them. They're known for implementing this one-stop approach, where a student can go to one location to receive all the help that they need to be successful in the process. This was started in 1999 and really got going in 2000, where the student could go to one stop, and there were some things that worked. She said, she gave me a history, and then she said there were some things that worked and some things that didn't, and then she wound up with what they're doing now. Now, the ironic thing is, this is October that I'm interviewing, late October, and actually they stopped the one step after 15 years, September 1st of 2014. So I found that very intriguing, that the very thing I was sent to study was being ended that same month or within 30 days prior. And so she elaborated on the things that work. And the things that worked was the fact that the student could engage all the facets that impacted their education, coming to that one stop. But then there were a list of things that did not work. Primarily, you have to get a workforce to do that. They developed student first, not counselors, but student first representatives, which they pulled a couple from different student affairs and business office and financial aid office, and they coupled them together, and they labeled them student first representatives. They no longer worked in the department, but they did provide information from the department. However, one of the major problems was they had to then learn the facets of financial aid, the facets of other departments that they didn't have to learn before. They themselves had to know everything. And this caused labor problems. They wanted to unionize. I believe they did unionize in order to get the pay matrix changed. So there were labor issues with that. Then students began to label it students last. And they did that because each representative, and there were only 12 or so, had to know everything about everything. Students were seeing the representatives for more than one thing: counseling and financial aid and curricular issues and other things. So the lines began to be so tremendously long that the students were not being serviced. They had to wait too long, and so that did not facilitate them using One Stop. So this created some problems as well. And so what they've done ultimately now, they did an analysis, and they found that most of the time-consuming efforts were with financial aid. And so they had to they recently pulled that out and left the other services in that kind of vein. But financial aid also presented major problems for those representatives. First, the representatives were self-directed. That didn't work very well. Then a lead advisor was put in charge. But the main problem was there are so many changes in financial aid, either semester-wide or yearly, that you have to keep all those representatives up to date, up to speed on those changes. They in essence became de facto financial aid representatives, primarily because that is what that took up most of the student contact hours. So changes needed to be made, and they were made. And so I learned so much about the interview. I don't have time to go into all of it, but they've shifted now, and they have some new initiatives along with that one student-centered concept, and it has worked out to be something very impactful. They've recently won a national award on their student services. They were just in Charlotte. Dr. Dean Garrett told me, and so I put that in my report as well. And so it was a very, very enlightening experience, just the analyzing of the research as we at Cape Fear and Dr. Berry marches on to try to help student retention and consider the one-stop concept. Thank you. There's more, but the time won't allow. Thank you, Dr. DeVita. Gio Simpson.